So this is the Witness 2311, and we're going to talk a little bit today about a problem that I had. Actually, two problems that I've had with this. And you can see everything clear. Magazine is out, of course. And it's important to talk about things like this because while the problems we're going to talk about, happened to this Witness 2311, this is a 2011 design, and that could translate over for other people that have 2011s of maybe a different maker model and are having problems. So the story behind this is went to an event, the International, I think it was, or maybe National Women's Day at the Range, put on by Gun Owners of America. And EAA, I went out to help those guys out. So I brought several of my Girsan firearms for the ladies to demo at that event. This was one of them that I took. Also took the Girsan High Power and the MC14T. And the very first day of that event, we got into the range, set the firearms out, put the targets up, did everything, and went to kind of function test, just make sure everything was working and all that stuff. And from the very first shot that day, this sucker right here gave problems. And essentially what was happening is, the hammer would not stay back. If, I cock it like this, you can see that hammer locks back. Everything is cool and smooth. And I fired the first round and the trigger wouldn't pull, and it was because that hammer wasn't back. And I thought, that's weird. So I checked it, went ahead, racked the slide again, pulled the trigger again. The hammer wasn't back after it fired. I'm like, okay, that's strange. So I went to manually pull the hammer back, and it sounded kind of like it clicked into place like just then, but it didn't. And when my finger slipped back off the hammer dropped and it fired. Now, what was crazy is when that happened, my hand was not on the grip safety as well. So not only was the sear in there not catching the hammer and locking down, but the grip safety there wasn't working as well. So a fairly dangerous situation if you're not aware that you're having a malfunction. Now, what I did is I reached out to EAA, and that's what you've got to do. EAA imports the Girsan, so you definitely want to get with them for any issues. And they said, hey, I said, well, I'm not that familiar with the 2011 design. It's a little bit different, 1911 on the slide and all that kind of stuff. But as far as the grip module, the lower frame, in double stack, that sort of thing, like, I'm not familiar with the design. And so I didn't know if I was going to be able to do any kind of repair or check it out or figure it out myself, right? So I said, what do you recommend? They said, well, send it back and let's check it out, because this particular handgun is serial number 2. And so they wanted to know if there was some type of a manufacturing problem, potentially, something like that. And I get it. That's one of the important things about if you have trouble with warranty issues, things like that, getting those back to the company so they can check those things out, and that can help customers, help owners in the future, right? So I got to say that I'm one of those guys too that have been like really, really lucky with firearms and having to send anything back to the manufacturer or whatever, send it in for warranty. It doesn't matter if it's what brand, it doesn't even matter what the product or the manufactured thing is. If it's something that's manufactured, it's subject to fail and have issues. I mean, that's just, it goes without saying, right? But like I said, no matter what it is, no matter if it's a refrigerator or a washing machine or a firearm, I seem to like never have a problem with things. So this was a rare occurrence for me. I sent it in, and what they found on this thing was there were some screws that were loose, didn't get Loctited properly from the factory. And so having to do with the grip module and like the internal, like the fire control unit. And so that stuff was kind of shifting around a little bit. And I think probably what happened with that is it was a little loose. It got loose over time. I mean, this thing up until that point had, 1,000, 1,200 rounds to it. So it makes sense. And then in travel, with it being in that case and being moved around and stuff like that to transport to that event, it wasn't just, in the box out to the range, that type of thing here. So the box did get kind of beat around a little bit, I guess. And so I think what happened is it worked itself loose even worse with that. Now that said, they've sent it back, and we're going to put some rounds to it today. I've already put some rounds to it since I've gotten it back, but we're going to put some rounds to it and just verify that everything is working properly. And they did get the issues with it rectified. Now, I do want to talk about another issue really quickly that I've had with this, and I didn't even bother to fix it until it came back the last few days from the warranty. And that's an issue I had with last round hold open and the magazine. Now, if you're not familiar with the way that this should work, when you fire that last round, the slide should lock back. And then when that slide locks back, the only way to get that slide to go down is to either trip your slide stop down right here, or you can put in a loaded mag or drop the mag altogether and rack the slide, and it will chamber another round. It will drop that slide. So I was having an issue before it went into warranty, very, very random, where the slide would lock back at various points. There may be 3 rounds left in the mag, 1, 10, you never know, right? And so it was very random, so I didn't worry about it too much. But once it came back from being fixed, I noticed real quickly that there would be 1 round, consistently 1 round left in the magazine whenever the slide would lock back, right? And so I did a little bit of research, a little bit of homework, kind of looked into things, and you can tell right here on the magazine, you've got a little lip with the follower and the body right there. And what was happening is, with 1 round in this magazine, it would push that follower down, but it wouldn't push it down quite enough to overcome the little ledge or the little lip. So what I had to do is just take a little bit off that lip right there. And of course that fixed the problem altogether. Again, I put a few rounds through this thing and I haven't had any issues. So with all that, I guess, out of the way, we're going to load up a few magazines here. We're going to put some rounds downrange, just verify everything is working properly. Then we'll come back and we'll talk about a few other things. Got some rounds in the magazine here. Get my Ear Pro on. And we'll put a few downrange. This is going to be 9mm. It's going to be Igman from our friends at Global Ordnance, 124 grain FMJ, but good enough just to function test everything. I think my red dot's on. It is. Here we go. Slide lock back. Let's do that again. Just sort of a rapid fire test here into the berm. Go with 10 rounds this time. Here we go. Did fine. All right, let's go for some steel. We'll talk a little bit about the red dot here in a second. I did change the red dot out to something different than was on it when it gave me problems originally. So I don't know if I got it zeroed or not. Here we go. Yeah. That's steel down there. It's not a problem. 5 of 5 on the steel at 25 yards. Can we go 10 for 10? Everything's running good. So shout out and big thanks to Paul, actually, over at EAA, who got this sucker whipped into shape. I know that it come in and the loose screws on the frame, like we talked about, kind of gave him fits. He had a little trouble figuring it out there at first, I think. But a lot of times that's the case when you have issues. It's something really stupid like that, right? Here we go. think that was 9 or 10. I'll take it. I will take it. All right, so we are in a pile of brass here, but yeah, the Witness 2311 ran fine. So let's take a minute because I know I'm going to get questions and talk about a couple things. The optic here being the first one. This is the Burris Fastfire C. Now, the Burris Fastfire, a very popular optic for many years. I've ran them in competition. The problem with the Burris Fastfire is that they're the Dr. Noblex footprint, and the Witness 2311 here is the RMSC footprint. So the Burris Fastfire C, just their RMSC footprint version of the Fastfire. And then as far as the flashlight there, the ever so trusty Streamlight TLR 7X right there. So pretty good setup. All the problems fixed. Seems to be running really well. And yeah, we're gonna jump over here because I know you've seen this 1911 sitting on the table. Yeah, I put it here for a reason, just to tease everybody about this one. And this is the Untouchable from Girsan. It is in 45 ACP, and you can see a very nice looking handgun, and there'll be more to come on the channel with that, so be looking for it down the road. As for this one, yeah, that's going to do it.